Hey guys, Jen here, and welcome back to my channel where I help you become your best self through better health. And today we are talking about the right way to read a food label. That sounds good to you? Let's get into it. Now, if you're like most people, you probably find it confusing to read the back of a food label. Well, what if I told you you don't have to and you can stop standing in the middle of the grocery aisles trying to calculate how many calories, carbs, or fat something has in it? That's right, because most of the information that you see on the back of those food labels is not only confusing, but it's also useless. Except for one very important section, and I'll get to that in just a second. So when people ask me, Jennifer, how do you read the back of a food label? I simply answer, you don't. Now, I know this goes against, what you've heard before, but the truth of the matter is the top half of the information on the food label is basically useless, and here is why. All right? Now, number one, so the information that you see on the back of those food labels is not, like I said, not only confusing, but it's actually inaccurate. The FDA allows for a 20% room for error when it comes to the calculations on the back of those food labels. So what that means is that these numbers are not correct. And most of the information in these recommendations are from outdated nutritional recommendations, i.e. your food pyramid or MyPlate. It wasn't until 2016 that they made updates to the nutritional label, being like, bolder font. They added the included sugar or added sugar line, the trans fat line. They even updated some of the nutritional value, adding vitamin D and potassium and removing vitamin A and C, not really making that a requirement. And they even updated the footnote section. So, not too much really changed. And that took 20 years to do. So it took 20 years for them to update nutritional information, which kind of goes to let you know, like, these numbers are pointless and what they're calculating is not correct. And not only that, what most people don't understand is that our body does not absorb all of the calories or nutrients that you consume. So if you're counting calories and these numbers are inaccurate, right, the 20% room for error, then your body doesn't absorb all the calories anyway from what you're consuming. Then my question is always, what's the point of counting calories? My answer is there isn't any. All right, counting calories is useless and not sustainable. I haven't counted calories in years. I don't count calories with my clients. And, for me personally, and also for my clients, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it's just so freeing. So I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback. You may have found success, from counting calories. Great. If that works for you. But at the end of the day, it's pointless, all right, and not sustainable. So anyway, back to what we're talking about today. So, all right, so not only is the information inaccurate, all right, number two reason or how to read a food label properly is checking the front. So I know this is the front, but I'm going to talk about like the marketing ploys that these companies use, because on the front of a product, a lot of times you'll see natural or healthy. And unfortunately, the marketing companies or the companies, the food industry, they know that they can trick you into buying something that's labeled natural or healthy when it's not really natural or healthy. The thing with this is that these terms are not regulated. So while organic and non-GMO are regulated and they have to meet certain, requirements and regulations, healthy and natural are not. So, a company can put, natural or healthy on a pack of M&Ms, and we all know that M&Ms are not healthy. So, buyer beware when you're buying things, looking at the front of the label as well, and don't fall for the marketing tactics, okay? Now, on to the very important section, the most important section of the food label and how to read a food label the right way. Did you guess what's the important section? Well, if you guessed ingredient section, you are correct. Woo! Now, the idea of this is, and I don't mess with any of these numbers up here, y'all, at all. I literally go straight to the ingredient list. That's what you want to do. You want to hone in on the ingredient list. Here's why. because you want to eat foods closer to their natural state with limited minimally processed foods. Now, here's the thing. When something has a long list of ingredients, all right, that means that it's overly processed and has too many chemicals and preservatives harmful to you and your health, okay? Now, you want to look for 3 to 5 ingredients. I would say 10 max, but ingredients that are recognizable to you and that you can pronounce. I always say if you can't eat it or if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it, okay? And so because when things have a long list of ingredients, it means it's ultra processed. So if you live on a farm, here's the thing, at the end of the day, unless you live on a farm, most of what we consume today is going to be processed. The idea is to go for minimally processed versus ultra processed. Now, this is a minimally processed item. It has 2 ingredients listed. That's it. And that's what you want to go for. And I can recognize and pronounce each and every one of them, okay? So minimally processed foods are foods closer to its natural state, and ultra processed foods are further away from its natural state, and basically foods that are made in the lab and basically fake food. So you want to stay away from the ultra processed foods and go for more minimally processed foods, okay? So 3 to 5 ingredients, 10 max, and ingredients that you can pronounce. Now, and also too, you want to just eat more real whole food. So if, you know, foods from the earth do not have a food label, they don't need a food label. So you definitely just want to make sure that you're eating more real foods from the earth that don't need a food label. All right. Then you don't have to worry about counting calories and all that other nonsense because, again, it's pointless. Just eat real food. All right. Now, if you are suffering from a medical condition and you have to count calories or micronutrients, I understand that, or macronutrients, micro or macro, I understand that. But my recommendation and advice to you, if you're suffering from a, you know, chronic disease or illness, is that most chronic disease and illnesses can be healed or reversed via nutrition and lifestyle. So again, my recommendation would be to, you know, ditch all of the processed foods and go for more foods in their whole natural state, foods from the earth, and foods that don't need a food label and all of those calculations, okay? Because who's got time for that? I don't, and I know you don't either, okay? So at the end of the day, whether you're suffering from a chronic illness or disease or not, you want to just make sure you're giving your body good quality nutrients so that it can do its job and continue to heal itself and be good for you. All right, guys? If you want to know how I stock my fridge and my pantry up with what ingredients and, you know, all the things that I stock it up with, make sure you go and download my food and pantry essentials checklist. I'll leave that in the link or the link in the description below so you can check that out. Download it. It's full of information, really helpful to get you and your pantry in check. It's how I keep my, you know, weight and cravings and all of that in check. And it's just great. I love it. So make sure you go download that. That's it for today. I just wanted to clear the air about how to read a food label because you don't need to do all that extra work. Just look at the ingredients and call it a day. All right. So that's the right way to read a food label. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.